You're welcome to today's presentation on Lawyer Salat's page, our weekly presentation. I am your humble host for today, and I am Ozoblu Solumtochku Precious Esquire. And with me is our very own person, our Honorable Chair, Governing Board of Lawyer Salat, Professor Mrs. Dura Magdalene. Ma'am, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
Today, our discussion will be around World Humanitarian Day and encouraging women that have imputed a lot into supporting the life of others. The World Humanitarian Day, as we all know, is a day set out by the world to appreciate those who show commitment, selflessness in improving the lives of others through different ways, ranging from the CSOs, the UN bodies, the professionals, the lawyers, the medical doctors, the nurses, everyone that put hands together and put hands on deck to make sure that the life of those around them is better, especially the lives of those who live in crisis area. This year, World Humanitarian Day has been set aside to celebrate women that have been championing the cause of humanitarian. Women that have taken it upon themselves to make sure that the lives of their fellow women and the life of young girls, the life of everyone around them is made better through the selfless services they render. And one of these women is our very own chair, Professor Mrs. Dura Magdalene, and we are so much thankful to have her in our presence today. Mrs. Dura, once again, you're very much welcome.
Thank you, I'm humbled.
And Mrs. Dura have been participating in so many works that help in the life of others. She is the chairperson, International Federation of Women Lawyers, shortly known as FIDA, Nigeria, Benue chapter. She is equally the special advisor to the Executive Governor of Benue State on Development Cooperation, SDG and NEPAD. From these two alone, you can see that in one way or the other, she has been contributing immensely to the work going on around us. And before I forget, if you all remember when we were clamoring for Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act domestication in Benue State, I bring to you the very person that championed the cause of this great act to be domesticated in Benue State, and this is Mrs. Dura. And she will help us with her other achievements and every other thing she has been doing in the work in the human world, helping the life of others to move forward. Mrs. Dura, over to you.
Yes, thank you. When you say achievements, I start wondering whether I should be talking about achievements. What you do is recognized by others, and I believe that other people should be able to say, this is what Mrs. Dura is doing, this is the impact she's bringing into society. But maybe let me just talk about my work and what I have been involved in. I have been a lecturer at the Benue State University Faculty of Law, and I was appointed at the point as the director of the Center for Gender Studies based on the activities and the things I was doing. Particularly that when I saw, when you live in a society, you are able to see around you and to feel, you are able to see what women go through. And I realized that so much was happening in society, and so I came up with an NGO called Gender Advocacy for Justice Initiative, GAJI, and through that NGO, we started offering free legal services to women, because we realized that for most of the women who were suffering abuse or in one way or the other, denied of their rights, they could not even afford legal services. And so we put ourselves, we came together and we put ourselves out there, and we started offering free legal services to them and young people. But by and large, as we proceeded, we started having men who are also vulnerable coming for help, and we continue to offer that help. When I became the director of the Center for Gender Studies and women started trooping in, it broke my heart, some of the stories I had and some of the experiences they had, and particularly when I followed up and went out there, what I saw. So when I was at the center, I now discovered that for most of the women, even the socialization process was a problem, maybe because of our culture. And so I started by engaging with the Chief Traditional Council. We also reached out to the Idoma Traditional Council to look at their traditional laws, the customary laws, as it relates to marriages and things like that. Because, like, if you look at the chief customary law, you see issues relating to inheritance of the wife, issues on custody only being with the man. And when I engaged with them, that was during the late Toti's time, and he was so open, and they accepted. They gave me an opportunity to appear before the GTAM, and I spoke at length on these issues, and they agreed to look at that. Thankfully, under the current dispensation, they are doing that. They are beginning to pick out those issues. They are changing the landscape in relation to the traditions that affect women negatively. Beyond that, we also held trainings for the traditional rulers, national workshops on issues affecting women. We did it for institutions, tertiary institutions, women's stream, gender issues. And after that, after the end of my tenure, I was appointed as a special advisor. And then I'm also the FIDA chairperson, as you say.
Yeah.
And so much has gone on. Experience teaches you what to look out for and what to go out for. And so when I became the FIDA chairperson, and in line with my work that I have been previously doing, and when we go to court, when you start looking at issues of rape and the ingredients to prove rape, it's so difficult.
Yeah.
But then I was able to get a copy of the VAM Act, the national one. I looked at it, and I saw it as a novel legislation. Today, even if you finger somebody,
It's rape.
It's rape.
Yes.
And rape is not only about men. That law captures women too.
Yes.
And they are also subject, they can also be accused of rape, and they can be prosecuted for rape. And so many issues are captured in that beautiful piece of legislation. So I picked it, I dusted it, and I approached the Solicitor General of Benue State, and she was all out for it. I approached the wife of the governor of Benue State, and being a humanitarian worker herself, she was very glad, and she said, let's work on this. So we took it to the drafting unit of the Ministry of Justice. They worked on it tirelessly, and we identified the current Commissioner for Information, Honorable Mrs. Buna Adingi. She was a very supportive ally. She was then in the House of Assembly. And so she agreed to come on board. And between us, we were able to push that law. It had accelerated hearing, and immediately it was passed. The wife of the governor just held it, and we were behind her. And she went and told her husband, she said, my husband, your tenure is ending in 4-5 days. Please, can you sign this law for us? And he was like, okay, no problem, I'm going to sign it. She said, please, sign it now. In fact, he was in one of his little offices in the government house lodge, and we stood. I said, all these women standing and waiting. Okay, I respect women, so let me move in with you. So he came into the room, called his people, and before us, he signed the law.
Wow.
So, and apart from that law, we know what happens when you keep having adjournments in court, the delay in the court processes. And so we also, I got to know there was this administration of criminal justice law that would be of immense help, but which over the years could not be pushed in. Now, I felt that, well, being in the vantage point of also being in government and working with a woman who has women issues in her heart, the wife of the governor, I leveraged on that. And so I spoke with her again, we took it on board, it was pushed through, passed, and that was also signed into law. So, yes, so Apart from that, I'm involved in, as you say, maybe the conflict zone and how we can best help our people. Benue State has come under severe attacks. Over time we had had invasions from the herdsmen, but in the last year, particularly in 2018, it was so intense. You have heard of the Agatu issue, but in 2018 it was so intense, and the viciousness of the attack. And you had women, struggling with children, running helter-skelter with their loads on the head. And one way that I felt I could help was wherever I heard that there was this kind of issue and displacement, and you had women in the bush. I am lucky, I work in an office where I have hillocks at my disposal. We will quickly move into that zone and just pick them. Put the women there, pick their load, try to get them to safe places, maybe in our homes. A lot of women are out there in Benue State that I'm proud of the wife of the governor. There are some of these children that she has now adopted. I'm proud of Josephine Haba. I'm proud of Helen Tete. These are women, Mimi Achapa. These are women that all rallied round and they just kept bringing in the women, sometimes in their own home. And then if we could not afford more because we don't have a shelter, so to say, we would now take them to IDP camps, but ensure that we kept going and taking food supplies, medical supplies, and other partnerships that could, better their lives. We try to drag them in. Beyond that, I think that by and large, I have been able to engage with people who have rendered so much help, who have been very supportive in trying to make this Benue, let me concentrate on Benue where we have really operated, where we have really tried to touch lives of people. In Benue, we have a lot of women that need help. We have a lot of young people that need help. And so in doing that, we have just tried to galvanize ourselves and see how we can better do that. And so when you talk of me today, when I came in, I said, oh God, where are the other women? Because for me, I feel that there are these women out there, the real champions. I feel that if you would talk of the woman who has done so much for the women, we have to celebrate the current wife of, the wife of the current executive governor of Benue State, Dr. Mrs. Eunice Oton, who has really been very supportive to the women cause. Because when she engaged with us, she told us, look, I've been a focal person for Mensaka, a gender focal person, I've worked in the development world, I know what it means. And so she said, look, in what ways can I help? And in doing that, she has been so open to whatever we bring for her on the table to be able to assist. And I mentioned Haba. Josephine Haba can even fight. She will scream if she needs help for women. There are those that are unsung out there. There are those that we are not celebrating, but the real actors in the humanitarian sector as far as women are concerned.
Wow, thank you very much, ma'am, for that. And we all can hear from her speech how women themselves have come together to champion the cause of life, to help the life of women and girls, to make their life a better one. There's no other person to say this kind of thing, especially unless someone who is speaking from her heart, who has seen their plight and who has helped them directly. We thank you very much for that, ma'am. We are so much grateful, especially for the domestication of VAL and ACJA and everything that you've been doing in Benue State alongside with other women to promote the life, the living standard for others, and especially those in IDP camps. Because I know you might have missed talking about your humanitarian work towards those in the IDP camps, but the little I know from FIDA, I've experienced so much humanitarian work being done towards those in the IDP camps.
We're offering services in IDP camps. these wash services,
Yeah.
cleaning their toilets, ensuring they have water, potable water, ensuring they have food, ensuring that the children, don't get malnourished, because that's the key thing. And even we've had children that develop this crawl, we just try to bring them where they're cleaned up and medically and all that. There's something that really is at the heart of all this. When you talk of humanitarian services, let us be just inclusive. We have people who are disabled. We will not say disabled now, we say differently abled, because they are also talented. But there is a key challenge in the state where you have maybe the blind or the deaf, they go to the secondary schools, but after that, that's it. There are no facilities for them to move on. When I was at the center and trying to bridge that, what I started was to start a training for the blind, particularly women. And what we did there was to get them braille readable books, get people to train them on that, and even to train them on computer applications. And you'll be shocked. They can browse the internet now. Wow. A lot of them. And some of the students that we trained there have gotten admission. This year I was pleasantly informed that a few of them got admission into UniJOS. While I was there, I was also targeting setting it up in such a way that it becomes a special education unit where we could now ensure that the blind could be in class with those that have sight. And that is easy to do that when you have a braille embosser machine where they can translate the textbooks that you use or books in the class into braille readable form. I know that the person that is there now is pushing for this to be actualized. So as we look at humanitarianism, I want us to look at it in a more inclusive term, as something, people who need help. They should be just captured in that sense, and let's not really look at it in terms of conflict and conflict zones.
Okay. Just like rightly said, people who need help. And I believe that all of us have people who need help in our environment. We have people who need help in our state, in our locality, and let her be this icon, and let these women who are taking it on their shoulders to help the lives of others, let them serve as an icon to all of us, so that we all can work together and then make the life of everyone around us a better one. Mom, I know that in everything we do, there are always challenges. The world is not devoid of challenges. Even the activities of giving humanitarian services, I know there are challenges. And from what you were saying earlier, I can just pick one, which is culture being a little bit of an issue. Mm-hmm. And then from there, you can just pick up and tell us the other challenges.
Okay. Yeah, one of the key challenges is culture. Culture in the sense that our cultural practices and our cultural dynamics make it so easy for women particularly to suffer abuse. As I was saying, when you have a customary law that says if your husband dies, for you to have access to the land and to continue to cultivate, you have to be inherited by a husband's brother. Those kind of cultures, especially in this era of HIV and all that, they are not too friendly to our women. So, but beyond that, the impact of culture itself, even on the psyche of the women, you have a situation where the socialization process has so socialized women to the point of accepting the abnormal to be normal. I've had situations where women who are abused and have run to us for help, and after rendering the help, you are trying to stabilize them, get them counseling services, and they tell you, look, I'm afraid if I don't go back to my husband, society will look at me as a wayward woman or too headstrong, not disciplined, and that is why I cannot remain in my husband's house. So they go back to that same violent and unsafe environment, because society has and culture have so indoctrinated that in them that they have to accept certain things that are abnormal to be normal. I've had a situation where a woman that almost lost her eye, at the end of it, we took her to the hospital. When she got better, not one day, for over 1 week that she was on admission, did the husband come there, but she now decided she needed to go back. But I've again had women who have told me that, look, the truth of the matter is, if your husband doesn't beat you, he doesn't love you. Wow. Yes, because then the belief is that it is only somebody that loves you so much that chastises you, that reacts to whatever you do. And so if a man doesn't love you, whatever you do, he won't care, he won't react. But if he loves you, he's going to beat you. So those are some of those issues. But for me as a person, how has it affected humanitarian work? You have a situation where some men come to you and threaten you for getting involved in their domestic family business. You know, you should stay out. Working with FIDA and prosecuting a lot of the men for rape and all of like we have this little girl in Wadata. She was about 3 when she was raped, and the young man, when he saw me in the police station, he told me, I'm going to be out and I'm coming after you. And a lot of issues like that, even their relatives come and threaten you. So that's a hazard you get when you get involved in this kind of thing. But when you go out to that conflict environment, you know, when the killings were on and I had to be in the bush trying to pick, there were times when we had to dodge bullets just to get to those people that were affected and to bring them out. And then I had people tell me, Madam, you are a woman, what is your business with going to do this? And I'm like, I'm a woman, and so I feel it. I feel it when women are affected, and even our husband. I feel it when our children, because I've watched women running, and you find there is a picture that has stuck to my mind, where at about 2 a.m. when I wanted to render help, there was this woman running with a baby on her back and holding one, and then there were some of them, and the other one ran out of the house with his pant in his hand. He just held it, he was running, and then I just stopped and I picked them in the hillocks and moved them to a safe place. So yes, there is danger in all this, but the satisfaction you get when you see a smile on the face of the person, or when the person hugs you, is enough compensation for whatever hazard or whatever insecurity you face when you are doing the job.
Oh, this is actually a lot. There's actually a lot. I've learned a lot by being here with you, ma'am, and I'm so delighted to be your host for today's presentation. And ma'am, can you help us the way forward? What do you think is the way forward to help curb these issues of security, the whole issue that is hovering around humanitarian work? What are the way forward, like one or two?
Yeah, okay. Like, let me start with the whole insecurity scenario in the state, and I want to appreciate the United Nations. They've really been great in terms of intervention. They have offered a lot of practical help in terms of food, medical supplies, and all of that. But they are also putting in place alternative livelihood support for those that are displaced. Now they have gotten land in 5 local governments for a pilot, Agatu, Buma, Logo, Buluku, and Kwande. They have gotten the land, they have mapped the IDPs, and they are going to be, clearing the land, preparing it, giving them seeds or crops, because they already did the needs assessment. The people have identified what they want to do, and they have told them whatever you do is yours. You eat it or you sell it, and they have the market for them, for those who are. And then they are also coming up with houses for them. And in construction of those houses, the heads of households are going to be working there, so that they are also able to earn a living through that. Beyond that, they say you cannot even talk about development or changing the lives of the people without having peace. and stability. So they are setting up a peace architecture in the state where they are bringing in Mayati Allah. They have a whole series of meetings and have been in them. They are bringing in civil society. They are bringing in a whole lot of traditional rulers and the government themselves so that they can see how peace can be restored to Benue for us to be able to talk about issues of development. Now, when you talk of that, for me, I also think within the domestic arena, we need to engage more. We need to have advocacy, step up. We need to have sensitization, workshops for traditional institutions, for the churches, for all the stakeholders that are relevant to us, making our society better and safer for us. And when I talk about having all of the sensitization and all of that advocacy, it brings in the whole idea of capacity building for women who are involved in humanitarian work. I have had cause to complain. Recently, we had a 12-year-old that was raped and impregnated, and she had a baby. Luckily, the wife of the governor, as I said, took the case up, paid the bills, and have been able to try to see how the girl, because she says she's also a child, and so we need a sustainable arrangement for her and the baby. And so in doing that, we need to build the capacity, because you find a situation where people who are humanitarian workers work not in line with the ethics of what they are supposed to do. You have the girl's picture splashed on newspapers, her whole identity revealed, her father's name, her full name, forgetting that there's stigmatization associated with this and that. Going forward, this little girl needs to have a life and to be protected. So you need to train us. People need to be out there who have the technical know-how, need to train women humanitarian workers, not just in Benue, but in Nigeria, so that we'll be better able to do the job.
Okay, thank you very much, viewers. Thank you very much, Mrs. Dura, for being in our midst today. And to our esteemed viewers, I know you're nourished with a lot of information, and with this knowledge, you can make the world around you a very better one. Because I have learned something, and I believe you too have learned something. And let's not forget, the world of the humanitarian service it's not just left for one or two. It's not just for Mrs. Tura, it's not just for me, it's not just for Lawyer Salat, it's not just for FIDA, it is not just for any person to do alone. It is for everybody to do. And as we do it differently, let's not forget to partner with one another to work too. Because it is said that a broom that sticks together stays stronger. So please, let us all stick together and make the world around us a very better day.
As the SDGs slogan says, we are stronger together.
Okay.
In helping me, or you are helping yourself. Because if I make you safe, I'm also safe.
Sure.
So when we all come together, we are stronger together.
Yes, and then you know now, when we come together and we work together, we are stronger together. Thank you very much.